So we're heading into my first church of the day, and it's the Saint-Madeleine. And there is this sweet little garden next to it, the Jardin des Innocents. And look at how sweet this is. Look at those hydrangeas. But I really love the little trellis here that's made with cathedral arches. And it is so quiet. I'm just walking in. I have not even looked any further than where I just started. So I'm kind of exploring it with you. Oh, how I love a hydrangea. And it smells heavenly. Look at this. Bonjour. I love all the white flowers. White flowers are my favorite. All right, we're gonna go. Head on. All right, so this is inside of the Saint-Madeleine church. It is the oldest church in Troyes. The nave here in the center goes back to the 9th century. And guys, I was just about dying when I came here. So here in the very center of the church, you have one of the most amazing Joubert screens I've ever seen. It's in flamboyant Gothic architecture. Look at that. Look at the details. This goes back to the beginning of the 16th century. And luckily it's open, like the one at Saint-Étienne du Mont, because then it survived. But here in Troyes, it's known for stained glass. And they have some pretty amazing stained glass. What's also fantastic about this cathedral is it is amazing signage for everything. And it's very small, but you have this great signage for just about everything. I mean, just look at this. The Stations of the Cross. Might not be able to see that with this light very well. And they let you pretty much roam around wherever you want. It's very small, not a lot of people. And some of the glass is actually, it's not fully here, but check these out. And again, amazing signage. Look at this. 16th century. So this is the triumph of the cross. And definitely notice up at the top, because at the top, the way they sculpted the stone around before they put the glass in is pretty amazing. This next window is the life of Mary Magdalene. And look at, in the floor you have some former grave markers. So it's everything from 9th to 16th, 17th century. The tower outside is 17th century. But here you have the Passion. I'd stand back a little for you. Look at that. Also in here is these benches, and these benches date back to the beginning of the 18th century. So look at these. Just think of the people that sat in these benches since the 18th century. So like the 1700s. So these are before the Revolution. Ugh, just amazing. Okay, but these, so it's completely dying in this place. So this one right here, this one is outstanding. And this is the Tree of Jesse. Look at that. I mean, the details on this is just astounding. Here's your red light that usually should always, candle back there that should always be lit. This is the sort of Saint-Eloy. And this one, and look at the top of this window. That, ladies and gentlemen, is a fleur-de-lis. I just love it. And this is Genesis. But look at that fleur-de-lis, and look at down here. And because we are in the Champagne region, we've got a little bit of one of my favorite girls, Joan of Arc, right there. And I love this one too, because this is the life of Saint Louis. And I'm taking pictures of all of these too, so we have to get those up on my website. More stones. Again, look at all this great signage here. And then of course we can't forget one of my other favorite girls, Saint-Geneviève. This dates back to the 17th century. It's a little hard to see. That's Saint Nicolas. This gorgeous door. And I love the tiles in here. And this, I wish we could see it a little bit better, but it's quite old, because this is the tomb of Jean de Bournon and Catherine de Melanie, and he was the butler to Charles VII, the Dauphin. So we are talking 15th century. And then these windows are the life of Saint-Joseph. But it's not a very big church. Look at these tiles. Small, but gorgeous. Just the details in here are just phenomenal. You have more stained glass windows up above. Might be a little harder to see on here. Here we go, that's a little better. I'll take pictures of all of these, but look at this. I hope this video does it justice, because it is stunning in person. Oh, and again, oh great, you have more signage for the windows in the choir. So amazing. Most of the paintings in here are also 17th century, with that Jouvet screen, 16th century. I'll show you that back. Ow. Look at this. And not very often do they let you roam around on the altar of a church. Look at the carved wood. And Saint Madeleine. That staircase. Just gorgeous. All right, let's get off to our next destination. Tour de France, which just came through here, beginning of the month. And now here we are. The Cite de Vitrail. And this is where they have this stained glass. Look at this amazing sundial here in the 18th century. When the building was restored, they fixed it and even changed it since the time is kind of the sun. But I can't wait to go in here and see these windows, learn more about the stained glass. So let's go. So the stained glass windows done by 12 different artists. And they were going to be done for the Universal Exhibition. And so here are the ones that remain. Oh, it's how easy it is to see in here with this light. But you have this one laid down. Oh, my girl Saint-Geneviève. But I think what's actually also really gorgeous are all of these drawings. And this is in the former chapel of the hospital of Saint Louis, Saint Yves. Yves Candebour, I'm sure that's who that is. Let me go over on this. But it's really gorgeous. You have some really great plaques in here. So this is how they would have looked in the chapels. Saint Louis, Saint Yves, and then you have the rose above it, which you see right here. Over here is Saint-Poix. It's very quiet. And then on this side, there's another set of windows. So you have the rose, the Holy Family, and then Saint-Madeleine. When I think of contemporary windows, I guess this isn't what I kind of popped into my mind. These, I think, are amazing. They were only briefly put into place in Notre Dame. You can see that black and white. And then they took them out. There's a lot of people before them and against them, and I'll show you. They've got a lot of really great information. Look at, I love these drawings. I would love to have this one. This is really Clotilde, who we know as the wife of King Clovis, friend of Saint Geneviève. And it's just one of those pieces on the side. Look at this beautiful one. The Creed Rose. So you have the 4 emblems of the evangelists there, and the Lamb of God in the center by Chevalier. And then this is just part of their permanent part of the... But I'm going to go a little backwards and take you back to the entrance. So I love seeing old newspapers. So this was when it was against those that were against this idea. And then you have the articles that were for it. Definitely with the Beaux-Arts. Look at that old Gauguin. There's nobody here, but look at the window. Look at this fence. I gotta go out there. Gorgeous. It's a couple degrees cooler than Paris here. You have these great signs about the timeline of the windows, and then also a timeline of Notre Dame. Look at that, December 8th, 2024. But first come through here, and this is one of the rose windows that Viollet-le-Duc designed. And these, he actually put these back. So when you see the ones that are up there high, that rose window, those are actually taken out. Those were originally done when they built the church in the 12th century, and then they were taken out. And Viollet-le-Duc brought them back to bring more light. And here's one of his many drawings. This was for the baptism of the imperial prince, son of Napoleon III. And there's Viollet. Hi, buddy. There's another piece by Viollet-le-Duc. With a rose panel. And here, there's some fantastic. There's some. So cute. Those are all drawings by Pauline Punier, her ideas for the windows. So let's go check out the rest of it. the collection of different forms of stained glass. See some very contemporary. It's beautiful. That kind of stained glass where it's each little piece. Then you have painted stained glass, which is what this is. And this is where they actually just paint the image onto the glass itself. My aunt did stained glass when I was little, and she made me a stained glass rainbow with a unicorn jumping over it. And I showed it to a friend of mine for her birthday. She wanted a unicorn theme. This is not that long ago. And she just was like, oh, thanks so much. I was like, okay. I wasn't really giving it away, but now, you know, I probably wasn't going to move it to Paris. And she loves it. So here is a tree of Jesse. So I showed you in that first church, the Madeleine, they had an amazing window of the tree of Jesse. And this is great how they exhibit this in the metal. If you've been to the back part of Saint Etienne du Mont, these are very reminiscent of the windows you see back there. This is neat how they did this kind of with fragments of found pieces. And then a very contemporary with this Wiley. Kind of love it. But as you can see, it's very quiet here. There's really nobody here. But look at that one from far away. All right, let's check on. This is the top floor. And it's all about how they make stained glass. But you also have pieces from massive cathedrals that are known for their stained glass. So this is some. And here are some pieces. Mary Magdalene. Look at how great these little explanations are. He's pointing his finger as the accuser. So you see it here, but then you could flip this little guy around. And then it also has more information. And look at this, how beautiful, how calming and gorgeous is this wall. And this is how, this is a studio. So can you hear it? I'll be quiet for a second. I need some of these for my window. My window's face south. How beautiful would that be? And this is Strasbourg Cathedral, which I've been to. And here are examples of the glass, which I'll show you the windows here in a second. But look what it is up close. It's usually more of a photo. Done 2014. It's only 10 years old. But if you get close, you see faces. Faces on here that make up this window. understanding stained glass. Usually you read things left to right, and more often it's bottom to top. So when you go to Saint-Chapelle, you go left, right, left, right, left, right, left, right, all the way up to the top. Which is kind of opposite of what you imagine. Really close. Trying to see where it says where this window's from. But 4th and 5th century. Oh, this one's amazing. 8th century. That church is here. I'm gonna go see that. Look, with some World War I. Oh, how beautiful is that? The angel. Oh, Maurice Denis. I love him. He also did that amazing ceiling in Palais Royal. $1,300. Century. Love that. This place is amazing. The Champagne Golden Age. Hey, this is where I started. Saint-Madeleine. Look at that. Grégoire Guyère. And stained glass, you know, in the churches, especially a long time ago when people didn't know how to read, stained glass, the sculpture, the paintings was all about teaching people the stories of the Bible when they couldn't read. Saint-Guy. I think I'm just gonna have to look at how many churches. I mean, there's a bunch of churches in this tiny town. Oh, look at this. I love this. 19th century. He's probably, is that him looking longingly at his champagne glass? It's a self-portrait of myself. Just amazing. That scary noise is. So amazing. Just this space. This is the top floor. You're supposed to start on the top floor. I just kind of started straight to Notre Dame. All right, we're going to head into now to the Cathedral of Troyes, or also known as Saint Paul et Saint Pierre. And it is a pretty huge cathedral, and I'm just here on the side. I just was leaving the museum here, their Beaux-Arts museum. It's very interesting, very bizarre the way they have it set up, but you know, nothing compares to my beautiful Louvre. But I did find a couple really cool things in there. So let's walk on over here. So this cathedral, it dates back to 1208 is when it was started, but it took until the 17th century to have it finally completed. There was quite a few different times that it went under, you know, you had the wars of religion, you had all of these different things that kind of stopped the progress of building the church. But in 1220, the choir was finished. And in 1228, they had a hurricane here, and the hurricane actually interrupted the construction again and actually damaged the south side, and actually that had to all be redone. But you can see the tower. There should be 2 towers, but they did not finish it. And there's no spire on this church because they had 2 spires in history, both of them destroyed by lightning. Here's some of the things. One thing I did see in there that I loved was this beautiful painting that Vigée-Lebrun did, and I'll share that on my Instagram. It's just so quiet here. Again, you have more of these half-timbered homes. It's just the town is filled with. This is kind of the central part of the old district. Nice and sunny day. Very beautiful. But the stained glass in here is pretty fantastic. As is, and I'm hoping I have time to get, I might be running out of time to get to the few other places I want to get to without being rushed. So I'll probably just have to come back. This museum also has like a children's museum, an archaeology museum. It has a little bit of everything. It's not an official Beaux-Arts museum of France, but still great. Look, there's a wonderful plaque here for Joan of Arc, Jeanne d'Arc. You hear the bell. Anybody gets the time by listening to the bell? Is it fleur-de-lis up there? So it's a pretty notable church. The Treaty of Troyes was signed here, 15th century. In this church, it is kind of the main cathedral of the area. I mean, it's pretty massive. All right, let's head on inside. Okay, we're inside. That south transept rose window is pretty stunning. You have the apostles below. The rose window here on the north side is in pretty bad shape. I'll show you when we get to the other side. But the back chapels, it is reminds me a little bit of Saint-Germain-des-Prés, with the really pretty work here on the gates. But you can see up here, the stained glass windows at the top are gorgeous. And because we're in Champagne, we've got more of Jeanne d'Arc. The chapels are actually not as overtly decorated as you have in some churches, of course. Sorry, my bag is getting heavy. So you know I'm buying books down here. I haven't bought any big ones, but the little ones add up. The ceilings are 35 meters high. Still, Notre Dame's a little higher. We also have a treasury here, so you can see some reliquaries. This music is playing in here. There's not singing, but the only problem when it's up that high is it's not as easy to see. They wanted at one point in the 14th century, they were going to try to make Troyes actually the capital of France. That didn't stick. Could you imagine? There's a lot of markers on the floor where people are buried. I hope you could hear me. I'm just trying to stay quiet in the church here. And then here in the nave, you have even more up there. And then on this side, look at this rose window. It's not doing so good. A lot of pieces are missing. Over there. Just look at that. I'll never forget the first time we went into Notre Dame de Paris in the Champagne region. And the first time I saw that church, I'll never forget that. Look at how beautiful this pulpit is. The carving. I mean, I say it a million times. I tell all my clients when I'm doing planning for them to go into the churches. Even if you're not religious, go into the churches because the art and just everything you could find is just stunning. And just look at the detail on this. Like, there's a little carving of a man, a saint right there. Looks like Moses. Ten Commandment tablet. Just that is just gorgeous. And you have some really neat little side chapels. Some of the stained glass is missing. But this, luckily, during World War I and World War II, this church wasn't damaged at all. But during the Revolution, it went through a lot. They came in and really ransacked it and broke a lot of things, damaged it, used it as a warehouse during the Revolution. There's not really any signage here. It's so funny, that first church I went to, while it was small, it was just the greatest with the information they had. Let's walk to the other side and I'll show you the ones that are right above us. Look how beautiful this is. So pretty. I'll show you this windows over here. Oh, I love this one. All right. Look at it's just endless layers of stained glass. Has anybody been down here before to Troyes? It's spelled T-R-O-Y-E-S. It's a pretty beautiful place. Just so quiet. I love it. All right, we're going to try to get to one more, hopefully. And I'll share that one outside now, Saint-Madeleine Church. This church was built in the 13th century. This is where Pope Urbain the IV was born. It's right here where the church is. So they had this built. It's just not a very big church, and it's very, very quiet. So I'm probably going to try not to talk too much. But check out these stained glass windows. You got to look closely at some of these, especially this little yellow one. So the stained glass windows are 13th century. You see those little faces in the middle? But it's just not a huge church. One thing is the churches here, they all have these absolutely fantastic little booklets. And you could pick up pretty much all of them at every church. And it's got a wealth of information. It's all in French, so if you don't read French, still grab them and translate them. But it's got information about the windows and about sculptures and important dates in the history of the churches. This church actually is really great and has lots of plaques, just like the very first church we were in. This church has a plaque for every single piece of art on the wall. I don't see them actually for the stained glass, though. But look at this stained glass. It's really interesting because it's very clear. There's a lot of clear light coming in. Again, 13th century. Education of the Virgin. The baptistry. There's a masterpiece of Gothic art, 13th to 20th century. This part of the country really went through a lot during World War I. But it seems like all the cathedrals here in Troyes were fine. This is also a basilica. So a basilica is basically the Pope is the one. There's not really a definition of that as saying like if it's this size or this many people in the parish, etc. It's a designation from the Pope. I do also love that a couple of the churches here have had bells. So you can see some of the bells that used to be in the tower. They have them down here so you can see them. But some of the windows aren't in such good shape, but maybe that's also just a good cleaning. But do you know who Saint-Madeleine? He was the son of a shoemaker. He might be my new favorite. Which probably makes him the patron saint of shoemakers. I'll have to look that up. But here's all these little booklets. So they have all these great ones about each of. It seems like all the churches except for one of them was out of the ones about sculpture and windows, but I found them at one of them. Don't you worry. No wonder my back hurts today. It's very much shorter than the last church, but I want to go out because I want to see if we can see the Last Judgment. Got some more contemporary buildings there, but over on this other side we have more of the half timber. Yes, so right above us, right above the door, that is the Last Judgment. So you have Christ in Majesty at the top, and then on the left you have the Virgin, and on the right Saint Jean, and then Abraham on the lower left, and on the lower right is hell and the demons, and the one next to Abraham is paradise. Go back a little further and show you the church. Then I gotta get back to the station. I did not get to one of the museums, and I did not get to one of the churches, so we'll just have to come back. Just makes me excited to finally get back into Notre Dame soon. More half timber. So thank you guys so much for joining me on this little trip outside of Paris. And I'll say my goodbye unless I find something on the way out, on the way back to the train station. It's really easy to get here, hour and a half on the train. And I walked everywhere. So you walk straight up the street basically on de Gaulle, General de Gaulle, and you walk straight up here. So it's very easy to come. So come up here for a day. It's very cute. There's just about every ethnicity of restaurant I've passed as well. So it's a great little place to come. All right, guys. And make sure you listen to the podcast tomorrow. It's a new one. It's about where we are with Notre Dame, about the outside, what's been done, what's still to be done. So check that out. And thank you guys so much for